as I'm prepping some of these videos and gonna go through this, and I'm like, a lot of this sounds familiar. A lot of this seems like I've touched on it before, and I think that's okay. Repetition is key to learning. Repetition is key to remembering, that kind of stuff. So I don't think that's a bad thing. But I asked myself, why? Why do I have these recurring things all the time? Well, I'm like, well, look at what's going on the last 2 years, and look at what's going on many years prior, since 2008, with the financial system to today. You can't help, because they're doing the same things. They're doubling down and tripling down, quadrupling down, and they're just getting more and more outrageous. They're getting more and more, I guess, farther along with their end goal.
I'll have carte blanche to create the perfect society. My society.
That's why all this stuff keeps coming up, and I just keep talking about it. There was a time where I just wanted to talk financial stuff, but that's no longer the case. Anyways, what I want to talk about is there's going to be, in my opinion, two types of people in society, give or take, for the most part. And I believe that's what they want. They want the ruling class, the elites, and everyone else. The ruling class and the elites, there might be hundreds, heck, there might even be 1,000 or so. And everyone else, the 7 billion, 8 billion, 12 billion, whatever we end up being, we're the rest. So what are we? Well, they refer to us as useless eaters. For the most part, I've heard that quite a bit. And we are the people that do all the hard work, all the dirty work, all the grunge work. So then they can float above on their yachts and their mansions and their multi-mansions and live anywhere in the countries that they want to. They can fly here and there for lunch, whatever, and live in the Hamptons, live in this cabin, live here, live there, here, there in Montana, wherever. And then there's all us that struggle, work, your 8-hour shift days, maybe 12-hour days, maybe even more than 12 hours a day. You're working 2-3 jobs, just trying to get by, because someone is stealing from you. Someone, some entity, something. Central banks, government, politicians, the elites, the other people in society. When there's two different types of society, there's them and there's us.
I'm the enemy because I like to think. I like to read. I'm into freedom of speech and freedom of choice. I'm the kind of guy who likes to sit in a greasy spoon and wonder, gee, should I have the T-bone steak or the jumbo rack of barbecue ribs with the side order of gravy fries? I want high cholesterol. I want to smoke a Cuban cigar the size of Cincinnati in the non-smoking section. I want to run through the streets naked with green jello all over my body reading Playboy magazine. Why? Because I suddenly might feel the need to, okay, pal? I've seen the future. You know what it is? It's a 47-year-old virgin sitting around in his beige pajamas drinking a banana broccoli shake singing, I'm an Oscar Mayer wiener. You live up top, you live Cocteau's way. What he wants, when he wants, how he wants. Your other choice? Come down here, maybe start.
What do you do with that? Well, you got to think about that. You got to think about, am I doing it all I can right now to make it the best I can for myself and my family and my future generations that are going to be here? My grandchildren, my grandchildren's grandchildren, that kind of stuff. And what I'm doing, is that going to be a benefit, or are we going to look back, say, I remember when I was younger and it was so much better? Because people do that. It was so much freer. You had so much more opportunity than you do now. I hear that quite a bit. Well, if you think 20 years from now, are your children going to be doing that same thing? Are you going to be saying, hey, you know what? I'm sorry, guys. I should have seen it. I did see it. I should have acted on it. I should have done more. I could have done more. I was just busy with work. I was busy doing this. I was busy going to sports ball games. I was busy, doing this. I was busy keeping you in 3 sports along with all this other stuff because you're in government school. And looking back at it, hindsight's always great, always 20/20. I wish I would have pulled you out of that government school. I wish we would have found a way to educate you better, to educate you so you're more prepared for the future, for your future. I wish we would have not had you in 3 to 4 sports, 2 to 3 sports. I wish we would have said, hey, if you want to be in it, pick one. Or I wish we would have just got together the neighborhood with your friends, families and stuff and did our own sports teams, sports leagues. I wish we would have done that because I would have spent more time with you. We would have spent more time together. I would have seen you grow instead of watch the teachers watching you grow and the principals watching you grow and the coaches watching you grow. I wish I would have been that person. I wish we would have grown together as you grew up. Now I look back at it, time goes by so fast because I missed 15 years of your life. I missed 20 years of your life. I missed 25 years of your life. I missed 10 years of your life because of that. Yes, you were there. Yes, I dropped you off at school. Or yes, I made sure you got on the bus. Or yes, I picked you up at home for home. Yes, I dropped you off at Grandma and Grandpa's when I had to do this. Yes, yes, yes. We did spend time in the car, an hour a week, whatever. That's not the same thing. I wish we would have spent more time together, and I wish I would have made that happen because I had the power to do that. So think about that. If you're in that situation, really think hard because you have that power and you can do it. I'm going to go forward now. So if you don't want your children growing up worse than it is now, you got to do something about it. If you want your children living in society that's worse than it is now, you have to do something about that. If you want your children growing up in a society that you grew up in, it's not here now, but you guys can make it possible. We can do that. We absolutely can. Because that's what everyone wants, I feel. That's what everyone wants. The problem is you got your WWE, your politicians, saying, no, we're going to give you this for free, or if you do that, everything is a breakdown and everything's a light on fire and it's going to be horrible and the earth's going to blow up, that kind of stuff, scaring you to death. And if you do this, all the puppies and kitties will die. And that's all fear-mongering. That's all the government does. So think about it. If you shut the TV off, if you just spend some time with your family, you can start to make it happen. It won't happen tomorrow, but you can start tomorrow. So what do I see coming ahead? The vaccine passport is nothing. It's all BS. It's nothing more than digital information, a digital information passport. That is so they can track and trace you. That is so they know you've been here, you've been around these people, and you've been doing this. Oh, I see you're going to this shop once a month. Why? Why would you go there once a month? We don't agree with you going there. We don't agree with you hanging with these people once a month. Why are they doing that? Well, they're going to go for a social credit system. Well, if you keep doing this, now you're going to suffer. Because once you're on digital, all the digital currency, you have no more cash, no more dollars once you're under the Fed full time. And that's going to happen. Unless there's people resist right now because it's in the works. Everyone has a Fed Now account. Everyone got a Fed Now account early 2020. You didn't know that. I bet you no one else you know knows that, but you have a Fed account, Fed Now account. It's in the making. There's been no resistance. No one cares. They're sleeping. But if you don't do that, you're starting the social credit system. And if you're going to places they don't like, you're hanging with people they don't like, you're purchasing things they don't like, they see you're tweeting some stuff they don't like, you put stuff on, FBI book, they call it Facebook, that you don't like, or they don't like, well, you're not going to be able to buy stuff there. Your purchasing power is going to go down. You're not going to be getting your UBI, Universal Basic Income you were promised, because that's how you're getting by. Because they worked out a thing. It's going to be great. It's for your safety. It's for your betterment. That's how they sell it. Watch what's going on. Seriously. Because the world we're going into now is nothing I would want my kids to be in and grow up in and live in. And I'm sure you don't want your kids to be there either. There's a carbon credit system. It's coming. There's already, I believe, a MasterCard credit card out there now that tells you what your purchase is and how many carbon credits that costs you, how many carbon credits that uses. This is just a start, because there's going to be a time when you're purchasing stuff, whether it's physical things or it's you're going and getting your hair done, whatever, something done with your vehicle. You'll be allotted so much, in my opinion, so many carbon credits that you can do a week or a month or a year. And if you go beyond that, you're going to get fined. You're going to have to pay for it. You're going to have to pay for permission to do it. Just like if you live in certain states, you have to pay for permission to build on your land. You have to pay for permission to add something to your house. You have to pay for permission to build a shed. You have to pay for permission to do this or that. You have to pay for permission to buy a license to hunt on your own private land. That's how it is in most states. Not where I live, but there's going to come a time you're going to pay for permission to purchase things, to do things, because the carbon is so much, they say, this life-giving gas that we know as carbon dioxide, which is amazing, which you're trying to shut out as a ploy. It's divide and conquer. It's distract and deceive and take over. That's what's going on. Really look into it. So the whole reason for all this is to push society into two classes, like I talked about. And how they're going to do that is getting rid of the financial system that's around now is failing. And they know it's failing, and they want to be in something where they can track and trace you. And we're not going to do that free will. We're not. So they have to cause a panic, whether it starts with a V, and then they have to cause food shortages, that's what they're doing. They cause a famine, or worry about a famine, and cause ways you can't work, you can't fend, you can't, provide for your family. Cause that because they want to step in and say, hey, whoa, we got the idea. We got the plan. Trust us. We're going to go UPI. We're going to make sure you guys get as much as you need every month or every week to pay for your rent, to pay for your food, to pay for your daycare, to pay for this, to pay for that, because we care. It's for your benefit. And then before you know it, 20 years down the road, you're looking like North Korea. You're looking like China. You're looking like prison. Because in prison, they have food all the time. They have heat. They have cool. They have water. They have everything they want. They have shelter. They can't choose to do anything other than what they're told to do, but they're living fine as far as the prison's concerned. Just like you're living fine as far as the government's concerned. Well, they provided everything for you. Now you have to listen to what we're saying, or we're not going to give that stuff to you to live in a prison state. So they want to put everything on a blockchain. That's my opinion. Which means if you own a boat, you own a car, you own a home, you own whatever, snowmobiles, ATVs. They get all that a blockchain, and then you say, well, I have this much equity in it. Like you have this much equity in the home, and I'm here. I want to purchase this item. I want to purchase, this thing. It's $1,000. I don't have the cash on me or the digits in my account because we're cashless now. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to sell a little bit of equity. I can do that real quick, like to the Fed, and then I'll be able to purchase that. That's what they want to do, because soon everyone's going to burn off all their equity, and then they're going to own nothing really. The bank or whoever, the government's going to come take that stuff because you have no equity anymore. And then they're going to go to what they want to do in 2030, is you're going to own nothing and you'll be happy. You will, and I will own nothing and we'll be happy. Just renting to start, but as soon as that's off the table, well, they're just going to pay for it. They're going to provide it. You just have to do what we say and act how we tell you to act, and we'll provide you everything you need. Doesn't that sound great? Or does it sound like prison? Because that's how prison is. If you are an upstanding prisoner, and you're doing things right, you get some more privileges. You can do things outside. You can do your jobs outside. You can do this or that. You have an extra hour in the yard, extra hour in the gym, or an extra this or that. You are freed up. You're not locked down all hours except for an hour. No. Now you're locked down all hours except for 5 hours. You have your lunch hour, you have your recess hour, then you have some extra hours because you're good. You've been behaving. You've been doing what we told you to do. That's how it's going to be. That's really how it's going to be. So, government, I got another question I just want to throw out there. Doesn't really go along with this, but sort of fits. I want to get people thinking about this. When government buys stuff, when they buy land, when they buy companies, when they buy businesses, when they buy stuff, who owns it? Because government is just people. There's a president that has problems, that gets sick, has issues like you and I do. stress, that kind of stuff. There's governors, there's your local politicians, all that stuff. So when government buys stuff, who owns it? Well, people say the government owns it. The government owns it. So, and then who owns the government? Because the government are servants to you and I. So really, you and I own it. So when the government buys land and buys businesses and buys corporations, the government doesn't own it. They don't own a thing. You and I own it. Because the government has zero money. They have nothing. They have zilch. They don't have anything they haven't stolen from someone else. So they only get their money by taxes and inflation. Without taxes or inflation, without taking that money from you and I, they have no money. Government has no money, period. Zilch. Zero. Nothing. So when they buy stuff, the government doesn't own it. You and I own it. So there needs to be a change in the way people think about things. A serious change. Because it's not government land. It's yours and my land. It's not a government company. It's your company and my company. And everyone else. Everyone but the politicians. But our servants. It's not theirs. Because they didn't work for it. They didn't work for that money to do it. We're paying them unwillingly because they're stealing it from us. It's theft. So really, they're buying that, businesses, minerals, if they're buying some sort of mining farms, all the minerals, that kind of stuff. They own water companies, they own electric companies. Well, we do. It's ours. It was our money that they stole from us. That's how they have their jobs, is because they're taking it from us. They're our servants. They own nothing. We own it all. There needs to be a realization of that. It's ours. It's ours. So, in that sense, who calls the shots should be you and I. Should be all of us. We have the power. We have the power to stop all this craziness that's been indoctrinated into us in our children in government schools, to get us to obey and listen and saying, hey, the government spoke up. You better be quiet and listen. The president spoke up. You better be quiet and listen. I'm not gonna if I don't want to, if I don't feel like it, if I'm busy doing something else more important, because they're my servants. They serve me. They're my servants. I'm their boss. I'm not gonna do everything to listen to what they tell me. They need to do everything to listen to what I tell them, because they're my servants. They're your servants. They serve you and I. We're their bosses. So think about that. Government-owned land, businesses, corporations, entities, minerals, that kind of stuff. It's government. The people in government own nothing of it. You and I own it. It's ours. And that's just the start. That goes across the board for everything. Think about it. And think about again, what kind of world do you want your children and your grandchildren growing up in and living in? Because you have the power to stop it right now, what's going to happen. Think 20 years ahead. What's it going to be like if it's like this now? And then think 20 years prior to now. How much has it changed? Do you want it to keep going down that same path? Or do you want it to get better? Because you and I have the power. And it needs to start now. Resist everything. Pull your kids out of school. Home educate them. That kind of stuff. There are plenty of resources for that. Plenty. I got people who talk unschooling. Unschooling because it took them so much to uneducate them from the stuff that they were indoctrinated with once they were in public school. So now they have to unschool them to get them to think critically. That kind of stuff. So anyways, this might have gone long, but thanks for watching. If you liked it, hit the like, share, subscribe, that kind of stuff. And as always, stay vigilant. Protect yourself, protect your family, protect your health.